Hola, clase. Hoy vamos a revisar el verbo gustar. So gustar is a very useful verb because it means to like or to be pleasing to. We can use it to tell people what actions we like to do. We can use it to tell people what we like to eat or what we don't like to eat. We can use it for tons of different things that we want to tell other people, just things that might tell them a little bit more about ourselves, what animals we like or don't like, what sports we like to play, things that we like to do in our free time, actors that we like or movies that we like or that we don't like. So as you can see, gustar is a very important verb and it's very useful. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to do two things. We're going to learn how to use the verb gustar when we're specifically talking about actions that we like. So when we're talking about verbs or things that we do. And then we're also going to learn how to use the verb gustar to talk about things that we like. So nouns, people, places, and things. We're going to start by looking at using the verb gustar to tell about actions that we like to do. So whenever you want to tell someone that you like to do something or that you don't like to do something, like some action, then this is what we're going to do. All right, so here's just a quick example of telling someone something that you like to do. Me gusta comer. So I like to eat. It's a really simple sentence, and I'll show you how we form it. Here's that same sentence, and I wanted to show you how easy it is to negate your sentence, to tell someone that you don't like to do something. All you have to do is just put no at the beginning. So no me gusta comer. I do not like to eat. If you just say me gusta comer, it's I like to eat. No me gusta comer, I don't like to eat. Now, here's the great thing with the verb gustar. Gustar follows the same pattern. So every time that you want to tell someone about something that you like or that you don't like, you're going to follow the same pattern. And really, the sentence is going to have three parts. The first part is the indirect object pronoun. The second part is the verb gustar, which whenever you're talking about actions that you like, it's always going to be conjugated as gusta. So you never have to change it to anything else other than gusta. It's not going to be gustamos or gusto. It's just gusta. It's always gusta. And then the third part is the second verb, whatever the action is that you're telling them that you like, whether it's running or biking or swimming or dancing. So the sentence, I like to eat, looks like me gusta comer. So the me is your indirect object pronoun. Gusta is the part that says to like, and then comer is your second verb. It's that action that you're wanting to tell someone that you like. And really, you can remember why this makes sense. Whenever there's two verbs in a sentence, the first verb gets conjugated, and the second verb gets left alone. You don't have to do anything to it. We call that leaving it in its infinitive form. So you'll always use this pattern. The first verb, gustar, gets conjugated to gusta, and the second verb, whatever the action is you're liking, just stays the same. It doesn't change. Now, it might have been a while since you used your indirect object pronouns. So here is a chart to remind you what your indirect object pronouns are. And remember that you want your indirect object pronoun to match the subject of your sentence. So whoever the person is that's doing the liking. So if it's me, yo, then I don't want to use yo in my sentence. I'm going to use the indirect object pronoun me. If I'm talking about something that you like, too, I'm going to use the indirect object pronoun te. You can go down the list and you can match your subject to the indirect object pronoun. And then you can also go backwards. So if you read a sentence and it says, nos gusta correr, then you might think, well, who is it that likes to run? Well, since it's nos, you know that it's talking about nosotros, which means us or we. So your indirect object pronouns are me, te, le, nos, and les. and they will always match your subject, the person who is doing the liking. All right, so here's some examples. Me gusta comer el desayuno a las 6:30. So me tells you that your subject is yo. So I'm going to translate this as I like to eat breakfast at 6:30. The next one, te gusta beber leche en la mañana. So the te tells you that your subject is to. So it's saying you like. You like to drink milk in the morning. The next one is a little bit tricky because it's le gusta cocinar para la familia. And you'll notice that le just tells us that it's he, she, or you, formal. So unless you're actually talking in a conversation with somebody and you know the context, you're not really going to know exactly who you're talking about. But of course, most of the time in a real conversation, you have context. So I might be telling you about my sister and describing her to you. And if I say then, le gusta cocinar para la familia, you would assume that I'm saying she, referring to my sister. She likes to cook for the family. The next one there, nos gusta correr en el parque. We like to run in the park. And that one is just really easy because whenever you see the nos, you know that it's nosotros. Les gusta comprar fruta en el supermercado. This would be like they or you all like to buy fruit in the supermarket. And again, you would be in a conversation saying this, and so you would know the context, whether you're saying they or whether you're saying you all. So those are just some examples. I do want to highlight and show you that it's really easy to follow this pattern because all your indirect object pronouns are there. Gusta is the same in every single sentence. Gusta, 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 gusta. And then your verb, your second verb, comer, beber, cocinar, correr, comprar, it comes next. And then there's, of course, extra details and stuff here at the end of your sentence. But otherwise, this first part, those three words, they all are always going to follow the same pattern. So it's pretty easy to write these sentences. And by the way, correr is spelled wrong. It should be Correr. I just saw that. Now we're going to look at using the verb gustar to describe things that we like. So nouns, think people, places, and things. It's really similar to when we want to describe verbs, but there's just a rule change that we want to look at. All right, so you can see that the sentence structure for telling people about nouns that we like is really very similar to when we want to tell people about actions that we like or verbs that we like. So you're going to have your indirect object pronoun first, you're going to have the verb gustar next, and then this time you'll follow it by your noun instead of your verb. So it's still three parts. If it's a singular noun that you're telling someone that you like in this case, the house, then you just do it the same as if you were telling them about an action that you like to do. So me gusta la casa. It's really the same. It's really easy. You put your indirect object pronoun, me, you take the verb gustar, and you just always use gusta, and then you put your singular noun at the end. So me gusta la casa. So the rule change is that whenever you're telling someone about a plural noun that you like, you need to add an in to the end of the verb gustar. So instead of just gusta, it's gustan. So me gustan las casas. I like the houses. And you'll always do that. Whenever you have a plural noun, you'll add an in to the end of gusta. Por ejemplo, so here's some ejemplos for you, and you can see the difference between when you're talking about a singular noun or a plural noun. So le gusta la sandía or le gustan las sandías. So we'll just assume this is he or she. She likes watermelon, or she likes the watermelons. Me gusta el perro or me gustan los perros. So I like the dog or I like the dogs. And again, you can see that the only thing that we need to do if it's plural is just add an in onto the end. And then of course our noun is plural as well. So it kind of changes. We have los instead of el, and then we add an s onto the end. The last example there, no le gusta el libro or no le gustan los libros. So maybe it's he doesn't like the book or he doesn't like the books. So I want to show you how to fill in sentences if the sentence is only missing the verb gustar. All right. So we've already got our indirect object pronoun at the beginning there. All we need to do is add the verb gustar. So when you do this, you're not going to look at the beginning of the sentence. You're going to look at the end of the sentence to decide whether you need gusta or gustan. So that first one is les gustar la carne. So we look at la carne. It's a noun, right? Carne is meat, and it's singular. So in the blank, we're going to end up putting gusta. The next one, no te gustar los postres. So at the end of the sentence there, los postres, do you know what that is? It's the desserts, and it's plural, right? So this time in the blank, we need to put gustan. Number 3, nos gustar comer galletas. Now we want to be careful here because we want to look at the word that comes directly after the blank, directly after gustar. We don't want to look at this one, okay? So if we look at the word that comes directly after the blank, it's comer, which is an action. Okay, it's a verb. So whenever we have a verb after gustar, we always use gusta. Number 4, no les gustar el gato. Again, if we look at the end of our sentence, we see el gato. It's an animal, right? So a person, place, or thing. It's a thing. We use gusta because it's singular. Me gustar mucho las uvas. Now this one here, you just want to think about it because if you look at the word right after gustar, you're going to see that it's an adjective, okay? And so we don't actually look at that. We're going to look at the next one afterwards. Mucho is just describing how much you like the grapes. So really, we're going to look at the next one, las uvas. Las uvas is the grapes, so that's plural. So we're going to use gustan. No les gustar el sándwich. So here, the sandwich is singular, right? So we're going to use gusta. And that's how you decide whether you should use gusta or gustan. I just want to show you a couple quick translations here. So I like the cat. In order to translate this, you're going to look at your subject, which is I. We know that we need the indirect object pronoun me. And then we might want to look at the end of the sentence first, which is the cat, el gato. And since it's going to be a singular noun, we're just going to use gusta. So me gusta el gato. Okay, you want to be able to go both ways, whether you're going from English to Spanish or Spanish to English. Here's another example. We like to swim. So we, nosotros, we want to put nos for that. That's the indirect object pronoun that we need. Like to swim. So to swim is a verb. So we're going to use nos gusta. And then the verb for to swim is nadar. And remember that we just leave the verb nadar alone. We don't have to do anything to it because gustar is our first verb, and nadar is our second verb. Whenever we have two verbs working together in the sentence, we conjugate the first one and we leave the second one alone. And the last example for you guys, she likes the animals. So he, she, or you formal gets the pronoun le, likes the animals. So the animals is plural. We need to use gustan in this case. Le gustan los animales. And it's that easy. So you guys can go do some practice and see what you think.